Chris, Mr. Olympia, he can do it. He's motivated as hell. Are you motivated as hell? If you're not, don't eat like this. Coach Greg, and today we're going over Chris Bumstead's 3,800 calorie cutting diet as he prepares for the Mr. Olympia. The first thing you're probably thinking is, how can he eat 3,800 calories and lose weight? Well, think of it. This guy's 260 plus pounds of muscle. He's doing cardio, he's lifting weights, so obviously he can eat a lot of calories and still lose weight. Previously, he was eating 5,000 calories a day. So that means he's currently in a 1,200 calorie a day deficit. That means he will in fact lose weight. So when comparing diets, stop thinking you're jealous that someone else gets to eat more than you. If their maintenance is higher than yours, then they're not going to feel good when they diet in the same way that you're not going to feel good when you diet. If you're in a 1,200 calorie a day deficit, you're going to lose weight quickly and you're not going to feel good for too long. You're also going to be hungry. We're going to go over his video, we're going to watch what he eats, what he says about it, and what can you learn from this. So the first thing you notice is Chris is doing his treadmill cardio with a sweater on and a hood. Just want to say there's nothing wrong with doing that, but adding in the hood, it doesn't make you burn more calories. Some people probably thinking if you wear a sweater, you bundle up and you sweat more, then you're going to burn off more calories. It's not true. So rather than bundling up and sweating more, which will temporarily cause you to lose more water, just wear what's comfortable and don't worry about the sweating.
But my breakfast is 120 grams of oats, and then I have 80 grams of blueberries, 40 grams of whey isolate. I like to make my oats on the stovetop because I find they get more volume, they get bigger.
So he starts off breakfast with 120 grams of oatmeal, which he prepares on the stove because it makes it thicker. It adds more volume.
120 grams of oats is a lot for me, but I'm already so freaking hungry that this goes down like absolutely nothing.
And he says he's starving, he's cursing, saying he's fucking hungry already. He's only a few days into the diet, so he's already thinking about adding more volume. More volume is more filling, and the more filling the food is, the less hungry you're going to be. He adds to that 80 grams of blueberries, which is going to make it taste a lot better, as well as some protein powder to get the protein that he needs. Very basic, simple breakfast, doesn't take a lot of time to make, and he likes it. So overall, a great, quick breakfast, plenty of protein, carbs, and energy.
My weight's dropped already. I've dropped like 6 pounds since that last video. I'm like 258, 259.
He's already lost 6 pounds on the 3,800 calorie diet. So if you're thinking, oh, he's eating too much, no, he's probably not eating enough. A 1,200 calorie a day deficit, that's a lot, and Chris was already lean to begin with, so he's already lost 6 pounds, so what it shows is that he actually could be eating more on his diet. However, when you first start a cut, when you go on a diet, a lot of the weight you're losing is not fat, but rather glycogen, and with glycogen comes a decrease in water stores. So essentially, your body is becoming more dehydrated. So some of the 6 pounds that he lost is fat, but some of it is also water. But if he continues to lose at a dramatic rate, he should probably up the calories. 6 pounds in the first week or two, it's not too big a deal, but if it continues at that rate, certainly needs to eat more calories. So the problem with this diet so far is you need a lot of motivation to stick to a diet like this. Chris is the Mr. Olympia and he's already starving. Fucking starving, he says. He's only been dieting for a week. Imagine if you're starving after 1 week of dieting. How long do you think you could keep it up? Well, Chris, he's motivated as hell. He wants to be the Mr. Olympia for the 3rd year in a row. So he's highly motivated. But are you as motivated as Chris? Chances are probably not. And if you're not, you need to eat more low-calorie dense foods that are more filling. This is quick and easy, but it's not very filling, it's not very voluminous. So although he cooked it on the stove, made it a little bit more volume, it's certainly not as filling as if he ate something different. What could he do? Well, he could eat less oatmeal and more blueberries. Or instead of blueberries, he could have strawberries because strawberries have far fewer calories than the blueberries. So find a way to add more volume, lower the calories in the meal, and when you eat more volume, you will be more full and more likely to stick to your diet. And meal number 2, guess what it is? Can you take a guess? Chicken, broccoli, and rice. 250 grams of rice, 160 grams of chicken, and 80 grams of broccoli or vegetables. What do I think of this? It's not going to be filling at all. Most people on a diet are not going to be able to stick to this for too long. Chris, Mr. Olympia, he can do it. He's motivated as hell. Are you motivated as hell? If you're not, don't eat like this. Even if you love this food, which chances are you don't, how many people like chicken, broccoli, and rice all the time? Most people don't. And is it filling? Absolutely not. Especially it's only 80 grams of broccoli. That is a small portion of broccoli. So what could you do to make this more filling? Well, you could lower the rice and trade those rice calories for more vegetable calories. That would make a much more voluminous and filling meal. And does it need to be vegetables? No, you could eat fruit and vegetables. You could add Greek yogurt. You can eat so many different things. What about Diet Pop? Why not? Absolutely. Studies show that if you drink Diet Pop, you not only lose more weight, you're more likely to keep it off. So you might be thinking, no, you got to cut out all the aspartame, the artificial sweeteners, all that stuff. It's not true. If you add it into your diet, you are more likely to lose the weight and keep it off.
All right. Here is the final product, a nice little stir fry.
Little stir fry. Little. You might be looking at this and thinking, well, that's a fair bit of food. Yeah, for you it is. You're 150 pounds, or you're a girl, or you don't work out, or you don't do cardio. It's Chris Bumstead. He's used to eating 5,000 calories a day. When you're used to eating that much food, and you're eating small portions like this, it's not going to be filling. If I ate this exact diet, I would be starving. And guess what? I only eat 3,500 calories a day. If I traded diets with Chris, my 3,500 and upped it to 3,800, I would be hungrier while eating more calories. Doesn't make sense, does it? But the reality is when you eat more voluminous foods, low calorie dense foods, like in my freaking cookbook, you're going to be more full, more likely to stick to the diet, and keep the weight off for the rest of your life.
People always ask me like, oh, should I eat less on rest days? Should I eat more when I'm training, whatever? No, you shouldn't. The point of rest days is to recover, give your body what it needs. So if you're not recovering enough that you need a rest day, which everyone needs a rest day, you shouldn't be cutting your food and adding less recovery from food.
And I do agree with Chris, on days off of the gym when you're not training, you don't need to eat less. It's a recovery day. Your body still needs energy to recover. And if you burn fewer calories and eat the same amount of food, you're not going to be storing body fat. What's going to happen is your muscle glycogen stores are going to replenish slightly. When you're in a calorie deficit daily, your muscle glycogen stores go from being full in the off season when you're bulking to much lower or reduced when you're cutting. And on the days when you're off eating the same, they slightly go up again. Not to the point of being full or spilling over and turning to body fat, but slightly higher, which allows you to have more energy on the days when you're training. And meal 3, 8.5 ounces of sweet potato weighed raw and 6 ounces of ground turkey. So what do I think of this? Healthy? Absolutely. Filling? No, not very filling at all. Not a large portion. And how could you make it more filling? Adding in vegetables or fruit. You add in lower calorie dense foods to a meal in order to take up more space in your stomach. This sends a signal to the brain that you're full, less likely to want to binge. And it seems to be a recurring theme. Chris, highly motivated, disciplined, dedicated athlete, he can handle this. If you can't handle it, get my freaking cookbook, filling delicious recipes that will keep you from binging. That is the secret to your diet. You need to eat foods that prevent you from being hungry. If you can do that, you're not only going to lose the weight, you're going to keep it off. And why is the Mr. Olympia, Chris Bumstead, using a cheap-ass blender? Can he not afford a Ninja? I mean, really, he's shaking the thing, looks like a shake weight. Why doesn't he have a proper blender to make his meals? Makes no sense. And meal number 4, his least appetizing meal, 200 grams of whitefish, 280 grams of rice, and a tiny portion of asparagus and cabbage. Not filling yet again, could certainly add more volume by adding more vegetables this meal, which would make it more filling. But hey, it's Chris Bumstead. He clearly knows what he's doing. But what I'm telling you is, if you follow a diet like this and you're starving, You need to add more vegetables, more volume, more low-calorie dense foods to it so that you're more full. Being full is the key to dieting because if you're not hungry, you're not likely to binge. Eventually, even Will Tennyson's willpower would run out if he dieted to this extent.
You also sat in the same place for the past 4 meals.
It's what I do every day. Half of my life, my off season, half my life is literally spent sitting right here.
And notice how much time Chris is spending preparing his meals. What I would suggest is to cook in bulk. This rice that he's eating, can he just cook 10 cups at once? Save it, put it in the fridge, and then take it out to eat it? Does he always need to eat fresh food? If he does, fine. I think Chris, 800,000 followers on YouTube, Mr. Olympia, does he not make enough money where he could afford some kind of a chef, a cook, something to prepare his meals? He needs to have more free time. Doesn't have to. I'll just make it a suggestion. If you have the money and if you can afford it, imagine how much easier his life would be if somebody prepared his meals for him. And his next meal, 200 grams of rice, yet again, more rice, 200 grams of salmon, which is an amazing source of healthy fats. So good to see Chris including healthy fats in his diet, and a tiny portion of this red cabbage, which he says sometimes he'll eat broccoli instead. Such a small portion, you would think he would add more of it so that his meals are more filling, but perhaps he doesn't want to be full, perhaps he likes being hungry, I don't know, but he's clearly starving, he's clearly hungry, he's been dieting for a week, already suffering, weighing 258 pounds. He has to get down to under 242 pounds, which is his weight limit. Certainly he's going to do that, but I would argue, why not add more volume to the meals you're eating so that you're not suffering with hunger the whole time? And his last meal of the day, he takes a scoop of peanut butter, adds a little bit of water to it, stirs it up, makes it into like a paste, and then adds 30 grams of nut butter, which is probably 200 calories or so of nut butter to this mix. It makes it into a high calorie dense, delicious treat.
Together, and it makes this like really like thick gloop. And it tastes really good, especially when you're hungry.
Now, unfortunately, if you're starving like Chris Bumstead and you eat something as tasty as this, chances are it's not going to be very satiating. You're going to enjoy it while it lasts about a minute, but then you're probably going to want 10 more of these. So my suggestion, try to eat something more filling. He could have the same amount of calories in a protein ice cream, could put it over his head, would take him 15 minutes to eat it, would be full, satisfied, and could go to bed without cravings. This, it tastes amazing, and he says, especially when you're starving, this tastes so good. Of course it does. It's 30 grams of peanut butter mixed with protein powder and water. How could it not taste good? Chocolate peanut butter flavor. Imagine how good that's going to taste. Of course it tastes amazing, but the problem is if it tastes too amazing and it isn't filling, you're only going to be left wanting more. So be very careful. One of the keys to my cookbook is I add a lot of volume. Not only does it taste good, it's also very filling because the portions are large. So if you're a big eater, you find yourself starving or hungry on your diets, why not get my cookbook? I'm telling you, this is why it works. It's still 80% as good as a real thing, but it's way more filling, twice as filling. So when you're on a diet and eating from the cookbook, whatever the recipes may be, you don't have to eat every single recipe from the cookbook, but the recipes from the book that you eat, you're going to be more full, less likely to overeat, and you're going to be able to eat in a deficit.
Can't you just like heat it up and make a mud cake?
What
Cookbook?
do you make a mud cake out of? You need like egg and flour.
And yes, a mud cake you could make out of this. You could add in some egg whites, stir it up, microwave it. It would certainly be another delicious option you could have. And you can see just how lean Chris is. He's leaning forward on the counter. Look at his forearms. You see the vascularity? This guy's already lean. He's been dieting for a week. He didn't get fat in his off season. He didn't bulk up to ridiculous proportions. He stayed really lean, great shape, and that means he doesn't have to over diet to make it to the Olympia stage. So I have no doubts Chris is going to win the Olympia for the third consecutive time. He's already in striking distance of being in condition. He's got plenty of time. He's eating 3,800 calories a day, losing weight dramatically at a fast rate, easy prep, easy diet. And if he doesn't continue to lose weight on 3,800, you just lower the calories or up the cardio. It's not rocket science. If he's not losing weight at 3,800, probably go to 3,500, 3,300, 3,000. Whatever it takes to get into the contest shape condition that he needs, he's gonna do. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. Please get one of the boobs. Don't forget, I had harder than last time supplements. Go to HTLTsubs.com. Also, you can get my freaking cookbook. Do not think it's going to work. Imagine if Chris had the book. And until next time, I am out. So the first thing you're probably thinking is, how is he eating 13? No, you're not thinking anything I just said.